My story, me. I was very nervous and shy growing up. I lived with a red face most of the time. My palms would be sweating all the time. My heart would be racing. And I learned to think that that was just how life was. You get eyes for the innocence of all of the beautiful people out there that are unaware of these understandings. I was living from this place with a highly processed diet. I didn't know what a processed diet was. It was continually driving inflammation. And here I was at this age as my left brain, the psychological system, was making meaning that, oh, there's something wrong with me. I'm flawed, because that's what minds do. Like many people do, one day I tried alcohol and I was like, wow, this freaking stops this feeling. I'm just going to keep using this stuff. And in the absence of an understanding, there's an innocence that we will go to habits that make sense to us. It's got nothing to do with our worth or value. It's just got to do with what we see as available on the table. And at the time, that was all I saw that was available. That was the level of physiology. Everybody is always doing the best with the level of physiology and understanding that they have available. So I started using a lot of alcohol. Eventually I moved to marijuana. I was like, wow, this stops this bloody feeling for, many, many more hours. So I kept using that, and what goes up must come down. Eventually, like much of the old paradigm, I went to a doctor, and innocently, you have social phobia, take this medication. That's the answer. And I still continue to use, and this is where I got to a pretty dark place in my life. I ended up in a drug and alcohol rehab center. And why I share that is I bounced around the medical merry-go-round. In that space, there was an innocent premise through which they saw people that were like Chinese ornaments. We're delicate, got to be soft with us or we'll break. And the fundamental understanding of who we really are, where our well-being is more like rubber balls. If you think about accessing happiness, peace, clarity, it always comes back, because that's who we really are. Little did I know that. We would sit around in circles. We'd stand at the front of AA or NA and go, hi, I'm Peter, I'm an addict, and share that into the room. I remember sitting in circles as we would talk about how broken we were, innocently operating in this paradigm. After that, I went into the fitness industry. I loved sharing the good feeling that exercise would give me with other people. However, I still continued to drink, all that stuff, and I developed my next gift, an autoimmune disease. This is where, again, I bounced around the medical merry-go-round. I went to gastroenterologists, sleep specialists, traditional dietitians that would ask me if I was seeing a psychologist when I suggested if changing my food could help my autoimmune disease. This was the old paradigm that I was dancing in. I would see traditional doctors. Acupuncturists are freaking great. I saw physios, I saw osteopaths. If they had an ologist or path on the end of them, I saw them. And I looked for answers. There was something inside of me sharing that there's got to be a better way. At the age of 24 or whatever it is, I don't see it as normal to be deemed to, like a rheumatologist said, take these drugs, good luck. I was called to find another way, and I studied natural medicine. I studied naturopathy. I had a real passion in integrative medicine. I started to see that there were actually answers to chronic dis-ease. But my mind was still going, my thoughts of I'm a failure, I'm not worthy, I'm not cool, all of that stuff. I moved into the personal development space like many of us do. Tony Robbins, rah, yeah, burn the boats. And there's value to that. There's momentum that can be created. So this is where my first mentor saw me. And I was there going, I want to help human beings. I want to get into a business. I want to coach people. She said, come under my wing. And I get goosebumps as I speak about it because it was one of those sliding door moments. So I went and worked for her and I learned traditional hypnotherapy. I zapped people. I zapped a lot of them. And what really frustrated me was that many of them would come back a month or a few weeks later and go, it stopped working. And I was going, what the hell's wrong with me? And then my ego would go, what's wrong with them? But there was an innocent, old, outdated paradigm that there's something wrong with them and I can fix it with something like that. Eventually I moved into clinical hypnosis and strategic psychotherapy. I was like, what's more effective? What I found with the traditional hypnotherapy clients, though, you want to know what was the most impactful? The 30-minute coaching calls outside of the hypnotherapy. The coaching had the potency of being with a human being, supporting them to create in the world. So with clinical hypnotherapy and strategic psychotherapy, impact started to be longer. It started to create changes for a longer period of time. I was like, great. However, there were still people going, I'm anxious again. And this is where I started to discover the shoulders of the giants that I feel so blessed to be standing on. The shoulders of the giants that we're going to be learning from. Functional medicine doctors such as Mark Hyman, Daniel Amen, where they would share things such as, we don't have mental illness, we have broken brains. And as I started to look at with clients, what are they eating? How's their sleep? How's their hydration? How's their technology consumption? And we made shifts, the change started to last longer. And these years of doubt, these years of this voice in my head going, oh my God, how can I actually help people? It started to get quieter as I would see change be into the long term. And that's what really lit up the fires. The amount of clients that would come to me that were bouncing around old, outdated paradigms, innocently of being pathologized, put in boxes, not being educated about the nervous system, breath, nutrition. It lit a fire inside of me to go, I want to share this with as many people as I can so we can get those people out of the merry-go-round. We can get people to access what are the principles that show our innate well-being in mind and in body. And the one element that really changed it all was when I discovered the inside-out understanding that we're going to be looking at a lot. That wasn't fully it. However, one thing that I heard that I'd never heard before, what if we're all sitting on top of innate wellness and well-being? That's home. And innocently, we've just developed habits of moving away from who we really are, from innocent misunderstandings. And that's what birthed this, and that's what birthed each and every one of you being here now.